My name is Carina and welcome to the Carina Chronicles. Today I'm binge reading this book and I already filmed it. It's going to be great. So, you might wonder why I would hate read a book. Listen, I read this book on Sunday. And on Wednesday, you see this video, that started Saturday after. But on Wednesday, we have a book club meeting. And we will discuss this book. And there hasn't been that much engagement lately. We have chosen books that a lot of people didn't really find it interesting. Some people DNF, they were too chunky or something, so people didn't finish it. So at the meetings, it is always really nice. We always have a lot of fun. And I'm glad they still continue. But on the meetings we don't really talk that much about books. So this time is different because everyone that read it up till now hated it so much. They have a lot of opinions. And that triggered all the other girls to also read it. So we can, like, on Wednesday rant for the whole evening. We even made a plan to tier rank the scenes that were the worst and where we should have DNF'd the book. So that is how bad this book is. And I was like, okay, I have a day off. It's raining all the time. There was nothing really interesting I can do. I'm going to read it in one go because once I put it down, I will not find the courage to pick it up again. I knew that, so I filmed my reaction for you and it is bad. Also, there are some parts where the camera is unfocusing. I'm sorry for that, but I'm not filming it again because you needed my initial reaction. Like, this video has the purest of reactions. You need it. So, sorry for the view, but the content and what I'm going to say is great. Also, it's completely spoiler filled. If you don't want to get spoiled, don't watch this video, but you shouldn't mind because I'm reading this book so you don't have to. Have fun, I would say, more than I had. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I had quite some fun reading this, but I really hate it. Don't get me wrong. I really don't think there's anything good in here. Okay, that was it. Going to the video. Okay, I'm ready. Don't mind my look. I'm just in my comfy clothes. I have a blanket. I have a very big, mug kind of thingy with tea and snacks, because this is this is a horror that I'm going to go through. I know it already. I'm going to read this. My friends told me it's the literal worst book they've ever read. Like, a friend literally said that this 1-star rating made all her other 1-star ratings at least 3 stars. That's how bad at the bottom of the whole list it was. They also said I needed to hide the bleach because I would want to tore my eyes out and just make me never read something like this again. So my stupid mind decided that I'm going to binge read this. I have a day off. I feel like I'm not in the mood to do anything else. I'm tired. I had a rough week. I'm just in need of a good book. Well, this is not a good book, but maybe a good time then. I'm going to vlog the whole experience for you. I have set my timer 1.5 hours from now, and I'm going to try to at least read without any breaks until then, and then I will update you, and then, well, I probably have a lot to tell. Also, I've never actually binge read a book, or at least not in a long time. Like, when I do my 24-hour reading challenges, that is of course most of the times the goal, but the goal is to read as much as possible in 24 hours. So it's not focused on the book. The focus today is literally finish this book in one day, so there's not one night that I have to be like, oh, tomorrow that book is still not finished. I'm going to read it in one day. So, wish me luck. I literally bought the snacks and stuff because I felt like I needed it with this book. So, we're starting and I'll let you know. And if I need to update you sooner than in 1.5 hours, well, that's a bad sign. I'm 4 pages in. I don't know if I can handle this. Oh my god. This is even worse than I expected. It's like, this was supposed to be a dark academia. We chose this as a dark academia book. The series is called Dark Academia. And well, everything Dark Academia has is already in these 4 pages, but only because the main character told us so. Like, she just literally named everything that should be in this book. This book is so pretentious, and it is just wants to be a dark academia so bad. Even Hogwarts was called, like, just, they don't really describe the feeling of being at that school. They just describe, like, oh, this is like Hogwarts. So they can, like, rely on the world building of J.K. Rowling, which is like, J.K. Rowling is not a person I want to talk about in this video, but the world building was quite okay. We all know how Hogwarts looked like, also because of the movies, but well, thank you, Stephanie Holmes, for just giving that as a description of your whole thing. And everything is sexualized already, and I'm not a big fan of romances. I hate paranormal romances, and this is going to be a challenge. I'm on page 4 of reading, but it started at page 10, so page 14 out of 344. At least it reads fast because I've been reading for like 1.5 minutes or something. So that's a good thing. I should be able to finish this today if I don't, like, take my own eyes out of my head. Do you see this blank page? This is the best thing I've seen today. This is literally the most horrible book ever already. It makes me think of Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout, but then worse. And I thought I hated that book, but this is worse. It also makes me think of Firewave, the worst book I read in 2022, but that one was just not well written. This is also pretending to be a lot of things and acting like it's very good, while being very bad at everything and extremely filled with only sex which is not sexy. So we're at page, oh, there's no page number, 30, 29. Well, this is going to be a challenge. So my first 1.5 hours of reading has been done. It wasn't a fully 1.5 hours because I actually updated you sometimes and updated some friends as well. Because wow. Wow. I'm at page 91, so we could say I'm almost on a third. Which, great, that it's going fast. At least that is something good. This is the most toxic thing I've ever read. This is like Harry Potter fan fiction. Very dark, adult, toxic fan fiction. Which is very badly written. If this is exactly your fantasy, I can understand that this would be like interesting in some way. I don't know. I really don't know why you would write this or why you would read this. But well, here I am. It is very pretentious. It does pretend to be a lot of things that it is not. The relationships in here are the most toxic things ever, but I do not think the author doesn't know that. I think it's part of the thrill. Supposed to be part of the thrill. I think this book is meant to be full of smut and just a very thrilling romance and very, how do you say that, like exciting. But it's not sexy. There's no chemistry between, or tension between the main character George, which is a girl, which I don't mind if whatever your name is, but just telling you, George is a girl. And all the toxic men around her. I don't know. It's so bad. It's literally so bad. Like, let me give you an example. The author wanted to let you know that she's very inclusive. So instead of having like a healthy LGBTQ plus representation in here, the main character gets like called a lesbian as like curse words, and she is brave enough to say something about it, that it's not actually a curse, that she should be flattered to be called a lesbian, and that it's homophobic of them to do this way. And that's all the representation in here. But now the author at least called it out, so now you know that she's not homophobic, although the story kind of is. And there's no representation whatsoever in here, but now we know that she at least isn't homophobic, because she let her main character tell you that everything that is happening is homophobic. So, you know, it's that is everything in here is happening like that. Like, you get told what you need to feel about it, so that we cannot have like different expectations. It's so bad also that every time, I know I said it already, but every time she wants to describe like the surroundings or something, she just says, well, do you remember the big dining hall in Hogwarts? Well, it was like that, but then with this and this. That is not how you write a story. Not only because it's weird to rely on that everyone knows every story, but also because where's your own fantasy? How has this been published? Oh yeah, she published it herself. Okay, never mind. But well, I'm going to take a break because I need it. And then I'm going to read another 2 hours, I guess. And I hope to be then well away over health part. But we'll see. I'm so surprised. I know I have been warned. I shouldn't be surprised, but it's just a friend said she was going to annotate the book and stopped after 3 pages because she knew she would never finish the book if she needed to annotate everything she hated. And I agree. It's literally, you read a sentence and you're like, did the author actually write this down? And then the next sentence is worse. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how we chose this one. This is a disaster. This is my first read of 2023, and it might be my worst book I've ever read, so the worst book of 2023. Starting off great. Wow. I needed to do a quick update because I can't stop laughing about the sentence, it can only mean one thing. Well, the part before this and the part after this sentence have no connection at all. There is literally no reason to say it can only mean one thing. I literally am dying. This is literally the best hate read I've ever done. I didn't know I would like hate reading so much, but I'm at page 127. I hate every part of this. I want to stop breathing, but at the same time, I really enjoy not enjoying a book so much. It's weird. It's weird. Apparently, when a book is this bad, like lower than 1 star, actually, apparently that works. So, good to know. Also, something I didn't say before. I did say it was like homophobic, and then the author tried to say she's not homophobic, but I just let the main character mention it. The same holds for a lot of stereotypes he has about Europeans in general. I'm going to generalize Americans at this moment. I know I will, so that is kind of ironic, but there are a lot of Americans that see the whole of Europe as one country and one culture. There are a lot of Americans that do that, and also a lot of things in this book are described as weird but British, or weird but, well, they do this in Italy because they are so weird, and it's really strange to read. It's just really strange to, well, I don't know. It's very American, this book. This person is very American and she wants to describe everything that isn't American as very specifically European. Well, it can also just be weird because it's made up. But okay. Just saying, I'm going to continue with the part that apparently was the only thing that could happen, because she said it can only mean one thing. So, well, we'll update you later. I'm getting hyped because, wow, this friend of mine actually, after she finished this book, purposely broke the spine of the book as like an act of violence against this book. I don't know what I'm going to do, but yeah, this book deserves punishment for existing. Some secret thing that I can show you pretty soon, but not today, came up in between, which I had no way of guiding when it happened. So that means that I'm now at page 142, and that means not crossed the halfway point, which I hoped, but I'm now setting my alarm again for 1.5 hours. I hope I will be within the 100 page mark. Then that means that I need to read 100 pages in 2 hours, 1.5 hours. I can do that. I hope there will not be a distraction now. My boyfriend is coming back tonight and we planned an evening together. So if I want to finish this book today, I need to finish it before 8 o'clock. It's 3 now. I need to cook dinner still and clean some things. So that means I have 5 hours to read almost exact 200 pages, clean the house, and cook dinner and eat it. I think I can handle it, but I will quickly do it. Also, this secret project, I might have showed it to you already when you see this video, because I couldn't hold my excitement, because I think I can actually announce it tomorrow or the day after. But doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. For now it's still secret and I am really excited about it. I hope it turns out as great as I want it to be. Can someone explain to me why this book exists? I am at the part where she confessing, like literally in a church, doing a confession to a priest, which is, the priest is hopelessly in love with her, although the only thing she did was cry, and they made me believe it was a very ugly cry, and his whole shirt was full with everything that left her face. And he was like, oh, this is the most amazing, beautiful woman I've ever seen. I need her. And now she apparently is a virgin and he can't stop thinking about doing everything he can with her, being a priest in a church. What? This fetish of this woman that wrote this book is weird. And you can have every fetish you want and just fantasize about it. I don't mind. But why write a book about it and publish it so that my eyes need to read this now? There's a horrible scene, a toilet scene. It just happens out of nowhere. And it's just written very casually, and I'm certain she will go on living her life. Nothing happened. This girl is already traumatized, that's what we are made to believe at least. A lot has happened to her, although we don't get the details, and please spare me the details, because we're getting the details of this scene, and I didn't want them. What is this? How can someone come up with this? I mean, I've read a lot of fantasy and I've had a lot of discussions because there are a lot of very cruel SA scenes in there, and I always need to explain myself why I like those fantasy books, but they are like, there's a whole world created there where unfortunately a lot of bad things happen. Like, bad things happen in war, and I don't know why I like it. But it's not that I like the scenes specifically, they just feel realistic, unfortunately. But this is just there's just this whole SA scene put in here as a shock value, and of course her love interest is just taking part in it because he's toxic, and he will probably say sorry and she will forgive him and they will have very nice sex together. But I don't care. What is wrong with people writing this and acting like this is okay? This is literally the first time in this book that I'm not enjoying the hate reading. This is bad. This is so bad. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say that of course she likes when he is essaying this whole situation a little bit because of his perfect thingy that he has, his package, as she calls it. I think I'm going to throw up. This is so disgusting. And I don't know how many times I need to say this, but if you're looking for some steamy, smutty, sexy romance, it isn't any of that either. Like, that wouldn't be my cup of tea, but this isn't that. That's not the reason that I don't like it. It's, oh my god. Just let me continue. I need to finish this. Okay, so I haven't really been enjoying myself since the toilet scene, which was just disturbing, disgusting, and unnecessary. But I am at page 250. So that means I am over half. I think I just told you that. I don't even remember what I told you and what I didn't. But I think I will be able to finish it. The amount of American jokes about Europeans is also really triggering me. I really hate that. It's just, I also hate, they really are on my For You page on TikTok quite often. Like these videos of Europeans pretending to be Americans that are in Europe, or just people assuming so many things about Europe as I'm now assuming about Americans. I know it's ironic that I'm doing the same as what I hate. But I mean, I don't assume that every American is this way, but just this Stephanie Holmes is definitely that way. The idea that she's going to a British school where they teach like 15 subjects, maybe 20, and they're all like Shakespearean literature and art, and they're cinematic history, and then you have a class American history. Like, out of the 15 classes there are, a British school teaches American history. We don't care. That is not the case. That is not what we would like to study if we're at university. Well, I don't know why that makes me so angry. It's just, and all the people going on holidays, the European people going on holidays, visiting like 4 different countries in 1 week, which is also not European to do because we don't see Europe as one country. We see it as what it is, more countries. So you visit like, I don't know, you are allowed to visit whatever you want, but you're not telling that you went on a holiday to a Spanish island and then just on that Spanish island you also accidentally went to Paris for a few days and because you wanted to see the Louvre. I mean, I know some people do that because they come to Europe once in their life and they're like, okay, I'm only here for 2 weeks. I need to see literally every country. And if I've been to their capital, then I, of course, know how the whole country is. There's a lot of frustration in this text. I know, maybe I shouldn't put it in the video because I do have a lot of sweet American subscribers. I just hate prejudices and assumptions overall. Like, I know a lot of Americans don't think this way, but this person thinking this way makes me angry. So, I'm not enjoying myself as much as I did at the beginning of this book. And it's not because the book has gotten worse. The book was the worst thing ever from the beginning. Nothing has changed. It's just that I'm getting tired of it. And okay, that toilet scene was the worst thing ever. Like, if the whole book is a 1-star rating, that scene was a -1-star rating at least. It was so bad, so disgusting. I hope you watch this full video so that you are also spoiled and you don't feel the need to actually read this. Also, I keep saying it, but this book is pretending to be things they are not, and they are doing this by comparing it to things that are what they want to be. Like describing the academy as Hogwarts, because then we know how Hogwarts looks like, and then we have an idea of how this building looks like, but also wanting to be a dark academia. I mean, the series is called Dark Academia. So telling us that she feels like she's in a Donna Tartt novel. I mean, I just can't. I know I'm not a published author, but I still feel like hope. Like, I'm better than this. I can do better than this. This is, I don't know, bad. So, less than 100 pages to go. Wish me luck. I'm not hungry yet, so I think I'm really going to finish this and then cook dinner and just chill. That's what I'm going to do. I needed to show you this. I have to give them points for the aesthetic. This place looked like it was designed by a Dark Academia Instagrammer. Do you see what I mean? How they pretend to be something they're not? Yes. Well, page 285 as you see. Only 60 more pages to go. So I've literally been sitting here for over 10 minutes, having finished the book, not knowing what to tell you. So I've talked with my friends first, because this was a ride. I've learned a few things about myself while reading this book. A few positive things, I would say. At least I'm glad I found them out. I also wanted to come back on the part where I was talking about these Americans saying these things about Europeans. I don't know why it bothers me so much. And I want to point out it's definitely not the most toxic thing in here. It's not at all. There are a lot of toxic things in here. And the author talks like she gets a pass for this, a free pass, by addressing them, but not doing anything about them. And it makes me mad, pretty mad. But this American versus European thing in this book was just stated there, not as a toxic thing, but just as a statement, as a assumption. And I hate when people make assumptions about me. So I got really triggered by that. There are a lot of trigger warnings in here, because even though it's written very bad, there's still some content in here that could really traumatize you, because it comes out of nowhere and it's very harsh and very descriptive, and just spare yourself the time, don't read it. But now the 3 things I found out that I actually am glad to have found out, I would say. The first thing is, I do like to hate read. This one toilet scene was too bad for me. After that, I didn't really enjoy it that much anymore. But before that, I was really enjoying ranting to my friends, ranting to you on this vlog. And I was really enjoying my time. And I actually think it got me out of the reading slump, which is ridiculous. I read this book in one day. Not even reading the full day. I've done some other things as well. Well, I think it got me out of a reading slump. So that is very weird, I know now. Which is also the reason that I saved part 2 on my Goodreads. My friend immediately texted me like, what are you doing? You cannot put this on your TBR. I'm not actually putting it on my TBR like I did. If you're talking strictly about facts, I did put it on my on my TBR on Goodreads, but it's just because if I ever am in need of another hate read, I know this will suffice because this was the worst. Like, it's not boring because I was very much triggered by everything in here. And it was very rentable, if that is a word. Now it is. While there are a lot of books that I rated 1 or 2 stars that, well, no, mostly 2 stars. I think my 1 stars are always like this. But my 2 stars are usually like, okay, this was really bad. I have an opinion, it's really bad. And I will point out why it's bad, but that's it. But for this, I literally could talk hours about why this is so bad. I'm literally doing that right now to you. And that makes it a little bit more fun. So I found that out. I also found out that I really like the dark academia setting. Although this is really pretending to be dark academia, I already got in the mood. So my next read will be Ninth House, and that is also dark academia. So I am extra excited about this now. And I also was excited about the murder mystery in here, which they did nothing with, of course. Also, the ending is the worst plot twist ever, but okay. And for another book club, we're reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I'm also going to read that one soon because I was enjoying that part as well. Well, like, I was not enjoying it, but I was like being triggered to think of like reading that someday soon in some way. So those are things I actually found out, which I do like to know. I especially like that I'm out of my reading slump, but boy, this was bad. Very bad. Also, it made you like happy for the tiniest of victories. Like when they actually did make love in here, it was like, it was not good. It was cringy, very cringy, like as cliche as you can imagine, talking about being huge and being tiny all the time. But it was, the rest of the book was so extremely bad that this was like a relief that at least it happened, you know? That it wasn't like the whole book had no climax, because it already had no plot and it already was not going anywhere. And in the end, nothing really happened and you don't know anything, and there, you just need to read part 2 to have any story. There's no character development and everything is just weird. So if there also wouldn't be like this slight climax of the sexual tension between those people, there literally would have been nothing. So I'm happy that happened. Yeah. Didn't expect myself to say that. I just saw my camera didn't focus on that last part, but I'm not going to re-record it because you need to see my raw reaction to this. It's the worst. The ending is also, it ends on a cliffhanger, but it's not like nothing works towards it. Like literally 20 pages before the book ended, I sent a voice message to my friend and was like, okay, this and this happened. It was bad, so curious to see how this book is going to end because there's going to be a part 2. And then just out of nowhere, this weird plot twist, cliffhanger, and literally so bad. Usually I come with some like positives to try to be kind also. I honestly hope that Stephanie Holmes will not watch this video because it will not do her well. And I'm sorry, she must be a lovely person, but her art is not for me at all. I cannot find one positive thing about this. At least it was readable because I finished it in one day. That's the positive. Okay, that was it. I hope you like this rant. I'm sorry it is so negative. I will warn you in my title. And I hope you liked it and like this video. And if you subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell, you will be notified whenever I post a new video, which I will try to be more positive in. I think my next reading vlog will be in 9th house. And compared to this Dark Academia, it can only be great. So I will probably be very enthusiastic in that one. I hope you have a lovely day filled with better books than this one. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye! So actually during the meeting we made a tier ranking of all the scenes that we should have DNF'd at. We made a list of all the groups of people that could be bothered by this book, and we discussed which of the toxic characters was least toxic. Wow.